Hello everybody, this is JD. I'm going to make a video. Why should you even consider me for President of the United States? Well, let's look at what history would call me in time. Probably the greatest compliment I can get in history is, with all the things we will accomplish as a nation, is that though a very strong and powerful leader bringing the country back to the Constitution of the United States, reducing the size of government, and changing a very unjust tax system. He was the world's worst speller. He couldn't spell hardly any words above 5 letters. Yes, I know I'm a terrible speller. I mean, I don't take it as an insult. And there's several people out there who pointed out that I couldn't spell. And I offered them the right to overlook my writing. And every one of them said, well, I'd like to, but I don't have time for it. See, that's the problem I run into. Until I can pay someone to do the job, I have to do it on my own. Yes, I have Microsoft Office 2010, the new one. And yes, I use its spell checker. Plus, I'm right now in a college course of writing, trying to improve my writing, which greatly lately has been done if you all look at my later videos. But I'm still, and I will tell you, the world's worst speller. But is that the only fault that you all can find in me? I have plenty of leadership training throughout my military career, from the time I was 3rd class petty officer all until I retired as a chief. I also, as a chief, knows what it's like to train a college student, in other words, a junior officer, so that they can become leaders in the military. So anyone who tells you, well, I'm out of college, I graduated from this college, that makes me a leader. No, that makes them an idiot who thinks they're a leader. And that is the truth. As many junior officers, I have told that straight from. Well, I spent 4 years in Annapolis, so that doesn't make you a leader. That gives you the training that you're going to need, but it doesn't make you a leader. There's more to it than just training. And how is my views about the government? Well, one, I truly believe the states need to start exercising more authority within themselves. I do believe it's the responsibility of the United States to secure all borders, so that every citizen can live and sleep at night safely, not worrying about what's going on the other side of the border, and that it might infiltrate into their household. I believe the Constitution and our freedoms, but every freedom has a limit. And that a lot of people don't understand. That freedom is unlimited until it infringes onto the freedoms of others. And that's when you have reached the limit. And if you continue to go beyond that, you can lose your freedoms. I have an understanding of our government. I have been personally involved since Vietnam, right up to this day. I have seen when a president thinks of people in other countries as things instead of lives. How an action could get so out of hand and become so disruptive for the United States. I'm talking about Johnson and the Vietnam War. He did not see the Vietnamese as people. He saw them as those things. And look what happened. I know that when any two countries go to war, both countries lose. No matter who is the victor, both lose. And I know the United States, if we ever go to war, the first time one man dies for that reason. I don't care about all the machines that destroy, but one man dies. We have just lost. Because that life was precious, especially to a lot of people. These are things I know. I know the federal government should not be moving into each and every one of your houses, trying to tell you how to live. and that we have states and we have state governments to help assist the communities, to regulate the communities, and that the federal government should not be at community level. I believe that the United States should set minimum educational standards, and testing is allowable, but do not tell the state how to implement it. But if you're going to require, education should be a major fund. I wish our country was like England, where students could go to college almost completely free. But it's not. We spend too much money giving away to the other countries of the world for their education. I believe that the American people are the most important part of our government. And that's why I'm so upset about the people who don't vote. Because those who don't vote give full approval to our Congress and our government to do whatever it does. I believe each and every one of you matter above all else in this country. I believe that the American people are so important to our government to function that without you, we are actually just another ragamuffin government of the world. You, the people, make it different. I believe that political parties have no business even being on the floor in Congress, either the House or the Senate. I'm sorry. I truly believe they have no business there. The only thing that needs to be there is when that representative gets up to speak, he represents what he represents. If he's a Senate, the state he represents. If he's a congressman or a congresswoman, the state, the district, and the people. No political parties. Cannot be identified by a political party. Can be identified by who he represents. Because the people are the most important part of our government. The very most important part of our government. And which makes our government completely different than any other one. Read the Constitution. I believe that our history is so tainted with falsehoods and lies. Look, they say George Washington is the first president of the United States of America, when he was the 8th. I believe he was the 8th. And actually, the first president of the United States of America, John Hanson, had a Dutch father and an African-American mother. Well, an African mother. At that time, they didn't call him African-American. But he was called Dutch because at that time you were called what your father was. Yes. That says it all right there, our very first president. George Washington is our first congressional president, but he was not our first. I believe that history needs to show the truth. I also believe that history shows us where everything has gone wrong, and when we change it to make it the way we like it, we will forget the lessons, the errors that were made, even in the United States. And those errors never need to be forgotten. Because if we forget the errors, we will only repeat them over and over again. I believe in the truth above all else. And that I will not lie to the American people. But if there's something I cannot tell you, I will tell you I can't tell you. By simply telling you, ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies. When I can tell you, I will. And when I tell you whatever I tell you, it will be truthful to the best of my knowledge, as I perceive the truth to be. I'm sorry. That's the way I am. It may not be truthful because, like I said, as I perceive the truth to be. I also know what a leader is and the responsibility of leadership. I also know the awesome responsibility of leadership when you make a decision and lives are at stake. Livelihoods are at stake. I know what it's like to try to feed a family of 4 kids and 2 adults on $8 a week. I know what it's like to work 3 jobs at one time just to get out of the credit card spiral you got yourself into. I also know that every decision as president will affect each and every one of you right down to the dinner table. So I must ensure that they are good and positive for the American people. I don't disagree with helping the world, feeding the world, but make sure every American is fed first. I don't disagree with healing the sick throughout the world, but make sure every American is healed first. That has medical. Not insurance regulation, but real medical, which you almost have right now, which you don't know it because the government won't tell you that you really have medical. Without any money at all, walk into any emergency hospital and be sick. You will be treated, you will be seen. The government won't tell you that. I believe in the sales tax, not the income tax. The income tax is on the burden of each and every American to work. I believe it should be based on our economy. Our tax system should be totally based on the ability of the American people to pay. But also by making it a sales tax, each and every individual inside this country will pay their taxes, including the illegal aliens. The difference is that when that rebate is given, only the legal Americans will get it. The illegal aliens won't be able to get it because they have to tell us where they are, and we will show up with their check to send them home. But above all else, as a leader of the United States, I believe in you, the American people. I have exercised leadership, and I have showed you my belief in you. Like my wife says, the problem is you all don't really want to do anything. You want to sit at home. But you can't. Our country needs you, and I need you. We need to get beyond the political parties to actually put a man or woman in the White House who believes in you, the people, and the Constitution of the United States above all else, and that the Constitution will remain the supreme law of the land above all else, and you, the people, will remain the ultimate body of our government. That's the things I believe in. As my leadership skills, I have demonstrated them for many years in the military beyond superior. And you will get those. They have been trained, developed, and honed, and sharpened. And I know what it is to be a leader. And I know where a leader should be when major things and decisions are being made. Not off on a vacation. Not hiding somewhere else. Up front. And explaining to you, the people of this country, what is actually going on. With all that, I ask, what do you think a president of the United States should be? I truly believe that I am more than qualified. Just because I don't have a bunch of degrees underneath me, the amount of learning I have is far superior than any course you could give in any college. Thank you. This is JD.